Okay, it's been a minute since I've done one of these things. I guess you could call it a heart-to-heart. I know when Shell was doing something similar to that's what they kind of called it. Yeah, so it's been probably almost a month since I've done one of these. I guess the last one I would have done is would have been right before we left to go to Boston to have some of my screening tests done with Palm Health. And over the last month, lots of things have changed, but just incrementally. It's not kind of a eureka moment change that we've seen in anything really. It's more been like kind of a slow drip change. So the major thing that, as it relates to me getting these conversations out for myself, the thing that has changed for me, and I guess the reason why I haven't come to do one of these things in about a month, is that I find my role is now changing again. So I've talked about this before, where I wonder the validity, or like how valid it is or legit it is for me to consider myself a caretaker, because Michelle's health state changes from time to time. So we just, if anybody hasn't really been following along, we've come through a really tough season that started in the fall of 2025 and lasted, well, it still lasts today, but has, like I said, been getting incrementally better over the last little while. So over the last month or so, Michelle has improved in how she's feeling, and also the things that she can do in her life. So naturally, she went from almost like a debilitating on the couch, cannot move, and lots of different body changes happening in the fall, to that, I don't want to say coming full circle, because she's not back to normal, whatever the hell that is. She's not back to that yet, but at the same time, she's been getting better. She's been able to get back into the gym. She has way more energy. She's feeling like she can do more for us around the house and with the family, and so on and so forth. So all those things are amazing. They're really good things. But at the same time, that leaves me thinking about what my role is now. And so I put my identity into what is happening at this particular time and where I'm best suited to serve. So that's where I usually am. And medically, I no longer need to serve Michelle in that capacity. So now it's left me kind of wondering like where I am. So now we're diverting back to the original bit of service that I usually help Shell with, which is her health, wellness, and fitness. So moving away from the medical side of it, and now moving back into okay, we're starting to feel a little bit better now. So now how can we really seize the day and really set you up for success again? Now that we can breathe again, now that she has more capacity in her life. Excuse me. So that brings me to my role prior to this whole trial situation that went down in the fall. And that's the role that I feel more natural in to begin with anyway. If the caregiver role, whatever that role might be, I've wrestled with that before, as I've mentioned. When that returns, then I will refocus my focus on that particular goal and trying to help and serve as best I can there. Now, I'm gearing back in towards the health and wellness, and then further beyond that, the fitness side of things. So now, how do I serve in that regard? And for me, I don't want to say it's an easy, but it's a more intuitive, natural way for me to serve. It focuses only on 5 things, and kind of a 6th thing now that I've started to go down the rabbit hole. So when I'm focusing on health and wellness and fitness for Michelle and for myself, I'm focusing on 5 separate factors. I've made note of these prior in stories, and sometimes Michelle and I will unpack it in maybe a podcast, but I figured I would kind of give an idea of what my process is here. When we're trying to focus on our health and then fitness, or sorry, health and then wellness and then fitness, that's kind of a spectrum, like a continuum of different outcomes. We have to have some sort of health. If we're sick, then we want to move towards health. And health is just essentially the absence of sickness. So we want to move towards health, and then if we're feeling health, we want to go a little bit further, move into the wellness area. I'm feeling well, like I'm feeling better. And then if you have that somewhat mastered or comfortably under control, then you can move towards, okay, let's see if I can become a little bit more fit, like increase my capacity to see what it is I can really do. So on that continuum, the 5 things that I focus on in order to try and get myself or anybody else that I coach or Michelle into is eating, keeping our attention on these 5 factors: eating, sleeping, training, thinking or mental health, and relationships or connection. So I think I'll do more talks like these, or monologues, whatever you want to call them, based on maybe on these 5 factors, because I haven't found anything in my wellness and fitness travels that explains or focuses your efforts in this realm better than those 5 factors: eating, sleeping, training, thinking, connecting. So those 5 things, those are my major weapons for Shell now. Prior to this, the medical world, or the clinical world of it, was medicines and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that we don't deal with those still, but those are, instead of being the priority right now, they're there. They are now being supplemented with these 5 different factors. You can focus on these things at all times anyway, but whenever you're just trying to stay alive or survive, then these 5 factors are a little bit more difficult to really focus on, because you're just trying to stay above ground. Anyway, so those are the 5 factors that I've got in my caregiver toolkit at this point, and like that's why I mentioned before, I don't know, I feel kind of like an imposter when I'm in this caregiver role, because I'm new to it, but at the same time I understand that Michelle's health fluctuates and comes and goes in different spurts. So I always, whether or not it's delusional, I always believe that Michelle will bounce back and have a robust outcome. And I had a feeling that would happen. And that's why I was trying to like juggle those different feelings. So I said to myself, whenever she does bounce back, then am I a caregiver then? So now, whatever you want to call it, a support system, a caregiver, a trainer, a coach, whatever you want to call it, that is my role, and that's how I serve. And I'm branching out to do those different things, mostly with youth athletes, but at the same time, it's always going to be those 5 factors, with the addition of a 6th one that I'm trying to understand that supplements all of those things and everything in our life, which is spiritual health. So that spiritual health, I know, plays into all those different things, and one of those can't work without the other. But when you stack all of them together and they're all connected well, then you really feel like you're invincible. So it's all about trying to figure out, how can I marry all of these 5 factors, and then perhaps a 6th factor if that's in your world, to increase my capacity to a place where I can be the best version of myself. I can be as strong as I possibly can and show up for myself and for my family and for my community. Anyway, there's a big blog to get a bunch of different things out. I've been taking this month to try and figure things out, because it's moved away from the caregiver role in the traditional sense. And I know it'll move back there someday, or maybe someday it'll move there towards for me. But regardless, that's where I'm at right now, and I'm hopeful. I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling confident in Michelle and our future for our family. Anyway, thanks for watching. More to come on the 5 factors and the 6th factor. But that's it for now. Peace.